to some extent, we're all selfish individuals. We all have the beliefs and the opinions that we are rooted in. And we're grounded in some weeds for some part of our life, for some opinion we hold, for some habit that we have, for some belief that we either have self-imposed or have had imposed onto ourselves that makes us who we are. These last few weeks I've been able to think a lot about being, and at times being selfish and being stubborn. And my takeaway from that is we need to shed that a fair amount in order to reach our true potential and get to where we want to be, as hard as that can be. I have honestly needed to do a more vulnerable talk for some time. I have had things that I've wanted to talk about, and then I've moved forward and done something else that hits me in the moment. And not that that's a bad thing, but something that I've learned and that I've wanted to talk about for a while on here is how I, at times in my life, and I can't change it, have been extremely selfish. I've been very stubborn. My mom put it to me like this one way, and one day she did this. She said my dad's side of the family, for reference, it's DS, KDSOL, DS, that's where the DS comes from. She said that I had the DS stubbornness. I got it from my dad, per se. That's what she said to me at one point or another. And I think that I'm in this position in one way or another, partially to that hand. There have been positions I wanted to apply for that I didn't bother with. There have been times where I could have shed that vulnerability and said, you know what, I'm going to go for this, and I haven't. There are times where I'm out with friends and, this stubbornness kind of comes through for me in having standards for myself. And I think that some ways, and that's a way that people can be stubborn, that people can be selfish. And I wouldn't say it's a bad reason to be this way. But we hold ourselves to standards at some point that are impossible to achieve and impossible to reach, that it's actually a bad thing for us. On an off-topic mention, I'm not following that last point. Personally, for me, I really don't drink. I don't do any smoking or anything like that. For me, I've seen people do it. I don't see that as something I do. And it's funny at times where I've gone out with friends and we've gone down to New York City, and we've gone down to places nearby. We've driven close by to other bars. And I think me not doing that has hampered some of my experiences in these places to one point or another, or where one of my friends will try to do something and they're a little inebriated and, they'll just do it. And it'll annoy me. And another part of this selfishness and stubbornness is I don't want to be the one to have to say no too many times. A pattern I've had is where I say what I want, and if I have to repeat it, I almost am a little annoyed. I'm annoyed at the fact that it's like, we didn't hear me the first time. Why do I have to repeat it to you? You should know. You should understand. Or, I had this happen to me once or twice specifically where, my friends, because I've talked ad nauseum about my experiences with women in particular on here, and how I'm still trying to get better at that. And I've felt like I've already learned a lot in these last few months, since even starting this, where I'm talking on here. And there are still times where I'm kind of in my own little world, and someone will try to nudge me one way. You know, there was one time where one of my friends, we were dancing, we were at this bar, we were on the dance floor, and we were dancing. And there was this group of girls that was nearby, this circle. We had our own circle in one corner, and their circle was right there. One of my friends who had gotten a few drinks in him, he tried to push me into that circle. Granted, this wasn't the first time he had done this. He had done this a few times before to me. And I yelled at him. I was like, look, I know what you're trying to do. Don't do that. I don't know if what I did was good. I don't think the way I went about it was good. But that's an area in my life where I know I've been really stubborn, and it hasn't helped me whatsoever. And I think there have been times where internally I have always wanted to go against the grain. I don't know why, and I don't know where it came from. I remember back as far as rec basketball, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. I did play that far. I'm not stopping on those two numbers. People would want me to score. And my little silent retribution would be to pass. I'd have a wide open layup and I'd pass to someone else. It's my way of saying, like, you want me to do this. I am not doing what you're asking me to do. Not that it would be from a coach, but if it was fans, if it were parents, I would be like, no. You want me to do this? No. I've found that at times people try to put me in boxes. And if it's a box that I don't necessarily agree with, or if it's a box that in my eyes, because I know I need to get better at, where my feelings don't match, or I don't believe that I'm capable of it at that time, my instinct is to just not budge. It's not to budge. I think that happens, and with at least one of my friends in particular, there are times where he'll tell me you're going to do something, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he's like, no, I'm forcing you to do this. And my instinct response is, no, I am not doing this. Don't tell me what to do. It's something that I've had for a while. It's not fun. It's really not fun. It's something that is a vice, frankly, that I have. A lot of people have different vices. And I remember I was asked a few weeks ago, one of my friends, it was his birthday, and some of his friends from school came up to join us on our escapade out into the world for the night. And I remember this friend in particular, he was there the night before too, and he asked a bunch of questions. And this specific point, I was out for the second night in a row. I was tired. It was packed because it was a popular place we were at. I didn't want to really be there. I wanted to go home. I wanted to go to sleep. And he asked me, what are your vices? I said that I'm stubborn. I added a few other words afterwards that I won't repeat on here because I don't want to repeat those words and have them be on camera. But this, for me, and I've known this for a while, is that top thing for me, where it isn't helping me. It's actively probably hurting me. Whether it be in applying for jobs, as I've put before, whether it be in life, whether it be in friendships and whatnot, because I've had friends, as we hear the mower go off in the background, one of the neighbors. I am in this spot more often than I would like to admit. And it's not fun. It's not fun. The flip side of the coin is, I think that the only way out of this is by addressing it at the source. It's by setting boundaries. It's by learning, this happens to me, and that it's a pattern, because to some degree, all of the bad parts of us have come from something in our past. And it's not our problem, but it's our responsibility to acknowledge that it's there. Because if you act as if it's not there, it can fester for as long as you want. I'm 23 right now. I know I have a lot of time ahead of me. But this has been something that I've known I've had for the last near decade. You have to address it in one way or another. I don't know entirely how I will address it. But there's the matter that it needs to be addressed. And whether it be from talking about it here, if I have to find someone specifically that is respectfully and exceptionally skilled in dealing with this, whether it's doing work on my own. We all have different parts in our life where we'll have to combat something about ourselves, and for me, this is what this is for me. Because I don't want to be put in a spot and be in this situation for the rest of my life where I don't, let's say, want to do karaoke. It's not that I can't sing. It's more often than not, when I go out, I'm with my friends. And more often than not, I'm more of an observer. I'm not an executioner. I'm not going out and doing too much. Maybe that's something I need to get over. Maybe I have to actually step foot into the world and put myself out there and humble myself with the fact that not everyone really even cares about me, and that people who I will think are good looking and think are attractive don't look at me the same way. Or the idea that as high and mighty I might think I am at one point or another, I know that that is very much not the case. It's something. It's something. I'm saying this right now, and I'm talking through this right now because I'm sure I'm not the only one that has gone through this. And I'm sure I'm not the only one dealing with this right now. Everyone internally deals with some form of these problems. I've had friends where I've seen memes that they've liked where, again, back to women, where there are times where you're trying to just do your thing, talk, get the vibe, see how it's going, and they go and they show up and they try to knock you off your game, or they try to help you in their eyes where they're helping you. And they're not actually helping you. They're actually hurting you. They're going to make you, depending on how you react to it. I know this is something and a reason why I don't really do this. they're going to make you actually look bad in front of this person because they're going to try to help you, and your instant response is going to be, get away from me. Let me try this on my own. One of my friends, I texted him because I saw he liked a meme about that. And I was like, yes, that's true. And he was starting to go through at first the different types of things that the rest of the people in our friend groups do and that our friend group does. And part of me, I was kind of joking. He went through 2 or 3 of them. I was like, oh, you got like a full scouting report for everyone. And then he sent like, for our extended group, there can be up to 20 people. He went one by one, what everyone does. My response, and he's felt this at times, was just, let me ISO. And I'm never gonna be the one to equivalate this topic with, sports. I think at times that can be overdone, but something he said that he quotes from Surf's Up, it's like, let me be me. It's from Cody, the main character. And I think we all have those processes, and we all have those reactions in our head. I know that person specifically, what he said he does, as much as I didn't tell him, because there are times where I don't necessarily know how to get that across to him. Where he said, this is what I would do. What he does and what he said he would do, that actually is something I don't want him to do. And I'm not throwing him under the bus or anything. I'm speaking how I truly feel about this. But at the end of the day, it comes back to how we are, where we came from, who told us how to be what we are, who told us how to be who we should be. Should and need are 2 different things, mind you. I know I have, throughout my friend group, I have people whose parents have raised them one way. I've had others whose parents have raised them another way, and they've built them to how they are now. I've had things for me where, at one point or another, my parents, who are a little bit older, and more so my dad, he's tried to get me over being teased, because it's something I still, even though I'm a lot better, I still struggle with it. To one day I get a little selfish and I get a little stubborn about that. And there are some ways where it's helped. There are other ways where I tell myself I'm not going to put my kids through that. I'm going to tell them how they have to react, but I'm not going to lead by example by putting them through that time and time again, day in and day out. I don't want to be the one to do that. And in the same boat, my dad, who's done that, when it comes to relationships and whatnot, that's like the one area where throughout a lot of time he can just lay it in with jokes, with life, with everything he's experienced and what he knows will get under someone's skin. He doesn't make fun of me for not having maybe as much experience as other people my age do. I'm really happy that that's the case. But at the end of the day, you're here right now because someone didn't believe that your story was over, and you have problems right now to deal with. Whether that mean you're selfish, whether that be you're stubborn, whether that be something along those lines, and it could be something that's much more worse and much more harmful than stuff that I've talked about today. Whatever our hardships are, I think that we need to do our best to shed them. Because once we shed them, whether they be self-imposed and whether they be what others have labeled us as, that's the only way forward. The sky is truly the limit once we do that. And once we do that, whether it be a one-time thing or whether it be a continuous process that we do over an extended period of time, that is something that we need to prioritize to ultimately improve as individuals and for our lives.
Bonus content.
I'm sorry if this is a lot. I don't think I'm going to apologize. Yeah, this is a lot. I've had that, and to a degree, some of that in me for a while. And I've wanted to talk about it, but I just haven't found the timing to. And it felt like it was right to do this now. If you learned anything, I hope you did. Please let me know. I found myself now where this looks amazing. It is in the mid-60s. I was looking outside back there before. I know it sometimes you can see, sometimes you can't, at how vibrant life can be. I don't know if it comes from knowing what I was going to talk about or from understanding that we can get better and we can start to see the world differently over time. But whatever your vice is and whatever your vices are, I hope you have the strength to honestly address them, because that's what this is about. We can't let whatever holds us hostage keep us there. We need to push back. We need to draw better boundaries. We need to open the cage. And once we do that, life can be a lot better. Bye now.